Did you know that Freddie Mercury fell into a deep coma during the final moments of his life? Many singers have come and gone throughout music history, yet only a few left behind a legacy that continues to touch hearts across generations. Freddie Mercury was one of them, an extraordinary artist whose life was overshadowed by a tragedy that shook his family, his friends, and millions of fans. He received a diagnosis belonging to one of the deadliest diseases in the world, and he had to watch as his body and career slowly deteriorated. A genius trapped in a merciless fate he could not escape. But how did this story begin? How did Farrokh Bulsara, a boy from Zanzibar, become one of the greatest frontmen of all time? Freddie Mercury wasn't born a global superstar. He was born Farrokh Bulsara on the 5th of September 1946 in Stone Town, Zanzibar. His parents came from the Indian city of Bulsara and belonged to the Parsi community, a culture shaped by tradition and strong family ties. Even from birth, Freddie carried a feature that would later become legendary: 4 extra incisors. Many years later, he would claim that these teeth gave his voice its astonishing resonance, an eccentric detail that suited him perfectly. Since Zanzibar was then a British protectorate, he was formally registered as a citizen of the United Kingdom and Colonies after his family emigrated in 1969. Despite his roots in Zanzibar, he spent much of his childhood in India, where he developed an unusual passion. He loved collecting stamps. Yet it wasn't this collection that shaped his future. It was his early love for music. At 12 years old, he formed his first band, the Hectics, a schoolboy with a big voice and even bigger dreams. And although he later studied graphic design at Ealing Art College, life kept pulling him back to where he truly belonged: the stage. After college, Freddie joined various bands, always searching for the sound that felt like home. In 1969, he joined his first serious group, Ibex. The band had ambition, but something didn't click. Within months, the project dissolved. Shortly afterward, he tried again with Sour Milk Sea, a group from Oxford. It seemed promising at first, but once again, things fell apart sooner than he hoped. It was as if the universe was waiting for the perfect constellation of people to come together. And then it happened. His third band project that same year brought him together with 2 musicians who would change his life and music history forever: drummer Roger Taylor and guitarist Brian May. The band was then called Smile, but once Freddie became the lead singer, everything shifted. The sound, the ambition, the energy. In 1971, bassist John Deacon joined, and Freddie insisted on renaming the band. Many thought he was crazy, but he wouldn't budge. He called them Queen, a bold name for 4 men, but Freddie believed in his vision, and that vision would soon sweep the world. Before long, Queen began transforming the music landscape. Their first album, simply titled Queen, was released in 1973. A year later came Queen 2, but the real breakthrough arrived with the third album, Sheer Heart Attack. Suddenly, Queen was everywhere, on radios, on stages, in conversations. And Freddie Mercury? He became the blazing center of this storm. His theatrical style, his extravagant outfits, his magnetic charisma. He wasn't just a singer, he was a force of nature. With A Night at the Opera, the band reached new heights. The song that made this album immortal was Freddie's masterpiece, Bohemian Rhapsody, a piece no one understood and yet everyone loved. Opera and rock fused into one, an experiment that became the anthem of a generation. In the late 70s and early 80s, more hit albums followed: A Day at the Races, News of the World, The Game. Freddie moved effortlessly between genres: rockabilly, heavy metal, disco, prog rock, even gospel. He refused every label, every limit. Biographer David Brett described his voice as an instrument capable of shifting within seconds from a deep, rough rock growl to a delicate tenor and then to a clear, shimmering coloratura. But it wasn't just his voice. It was the way he commanded the stage, how he could provoke, seduce, and electrify an audience at the same time. Every live performance became an event, every movement a declaration, every note a spark. Yet while his career peaked, an invisible enemy began leaving its mark. Freddie Mercury lived the early 80s with wild intensity. He partied, slept little, and endlessly pushed his boundaries, musically, personally, and romantically. He was bisexual and had relationships with men and women, unaware that this freedom would one day cost him his life. It's believed he contracted the virus from one of his many partners. First symptoms of HIV/AIDS appeared as early as 1982, but Freddie remained silent. He refused to let the world see weakness. He wanted people to remember the powerful presence he was on stage. In 1986, British tabloids reported he had taken an HIV test. He denied everything. But 1 year later, he received the diagnosis that sealed his fate: AIDS. Only a few from his inner circle knew. Media speculated endlessly, but Freddie and his friends rejected every rumour. He didn't want pity. He wanted to remain an artist until the very end. He continued performing and even appeared at the Brit Awards in 1990. A few months before his death, he filmed the music video for These Are the Days of Our Lives. He was barely recognisable. Thin, fragile, yet dignified. His body was failing. In the final months of his life, Freddie Mercury withdrew almost completely from the public. His Kensington home became a quiet sanctuary, far from cameras and prying eyes. Only his closest friends, his bandmates, and his longtime partner Jim Hutton were allowed to see him. His condition worsened quickly. The disease drained him, making every step, every word, every breath an effort. More and more he stayed in bed, protected from the light that his eyes could hardly bear. Yet his mind stayed sharp, loving, aware. On the 24th of November 1991, Freddie slipped into a deep coma. His doctor was by his side and officially declared his death. The news spread like wildfire. Musicians, fans, and people worldwide mourned a man whose voice and spirit were irreplaceable. Tributes appeared everywhere: concerts, memorials, foundations. His legacy remained unshakable. Freddie Mercury died as a man, but he remained as a myth. A voice that inspired generations, an artist who shattered boundaries, a soul that never fully fell silent. His light faded, but its echo lives on forever.